I've had the honor of working with UNAIDS and the AIDS family over a number of years, and it requires a bit of explaining to people that AIDS is not just about AIDS. AIDS is not even just about health. It just blows your mind when you begin to understand that it seeps into every part of our intimacy, our soul, and our ability to live the best way that we can. One of the issues that UNAIDS and you personally make sure that it stays on the front lines is, of course, the challenges specifically for women and girls. And we're seeing that just in one way here in COVID-19, in the form of domestic and sexual violence.
James, you've been an amazing ambassador, or goodwill ambassador for HIV/AIDS. You've been a champion. You've made a big difference. I know these issues touch your heart. This issue of girls, women being abused more because of this epidemic, it does prove what we say always, that epidemics feed on existing inequalities. They feed on existing injustices. They make them worse. That violence against women and girls has peaked because people are now asked to stay at home to social distance breaks my heart. It tells you that it's the people that you most trust, your family, your relatives, who abuse you if you're a young woman. This takes me to tackling social norms. This has been a war we have not won, because it's wired in those informal rules of societies. We call it culture, call it religion, call it whatever, but it's the informal rules of the society that make it acceptable to abuse, to oppress a girl or a woman, and there's impunity for it. So we have to get down to changing mindsets, to changing how societies view a woman and a girl, to make her equal in dignity, in respect, in rights. It's a lot of work.
Let's look at stigma, and we've seen this just in one form. People calling this a Chinese virus, people of East Asian descent, people who look like me being singled out, sometimes being physically or verbally attacked on the streets. Yet stigma and discrimination continues to be, let's say, one of the biggest, if not the biggest barrier to people living with HIV, from getting tested, from getting treatment, from getting what they deserve. How can the AIDS community continue to steer us as we struggle through the infancy of this new virus?
Wherever you find discrimination, that is where an epidemic will sit and grow, because those people who, while first have the higher vulnerability to the disease because of their poverty and their conditions of living, but also because they cannot access services, because they are not equal in rights with other people, discrimination and stigma drives them underground. So if we don't lift stigma, if we don't take away discrimination, criminalization, we would never win this battle that has no vaccine and no cure. That's why I say we have to connect the HIV movement to other human rights movements if we are to gain the momentum against such injustices.
I want to finish off on this note. Many of us are feeling pretty helpless, pretty broken at this point. We don't know where to look. Sometimes we can't look to our leaders, we can't look to our governments. Yet you always go back to the same few words: the power of ordinary people. How do you apply it to our decisions going forward? Not if you're a politician, if you're just like me sitting at home right now.
It starts by valuing every individual and treating everyone with respect as a human being. But it's also understanding that even a global epidemic can only be won by winning from the ground up. So communities, empowering communities to take charge, to be the ones to shape a response and to lead it. I think this is where it starts. individual human rights, understanding and appreciating a human being for who they are, and believing in communities on the ground being the leaders.
Ms. Byanyima, it is always an honor to speak to our guests here, but particularly with you, it's so humbling to listen to you, and I hope that we're all going to learn what you give us going forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, James. It's equally a privilege for me to be on your program. Thank you, and thank you for what you do.
The China Current continues its special coverage on the coronavirus outbreak. Go to our social media at The China Current and our website for interviews, videos, and podcasts. I'm James Chau. Thank you.